The Arizona Diamondbacks had a very memorable season in 2023. They finished the year just 6 games above 500 and had a negative run differential. But despite this, they went on to make a very deep playoff run in 2023. They absolutely demolished the Dodgers in Los Angeles in Game 1 of the NLDS 11-2, and they would go on to sweep them and face the Philadelphia Phillies in the NLCS. And at one point, things were not looking so great for them in that series. The Phillies would take Game 5 of the NLCS in Arizona and would go up 3-2 on the series. So the only way for the D-backs to win the NLCS was to win 2 straight games in Philadelphia, which maybe has the most hostile environment in baseball, especially for the playoffs. They would end up winning 2 straight and shocking the world to go on to the World Series. But unfortunately, they would go on to lose to the Rangers in the World Series. But people wouldn't forget how ridiculous of a run the D-backs made this year. And because of this postseason success, the Diamondbacks would have a pretty big offseason. They believed in themselves now, and so did a lot of others. They signed Jock Peterson to a 1-year deal with a mutual option for a 2nd year. They would also re-sign Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who had a pretty impactful postseason performance with the team, especially in the NLDS and the World Series. They also signed Eduardo Rodriguez, who is coming off the best year of his career in Detroit. Don't worry, we'll get to him later. And the biggest signing the Diamondbacks made was one of the Boras core 4 in Jordan Montgomery. We'll also get to him later. They also traded for Eugenio Suarez from the Mariners to replace their 3rd baseman in Evan Longoria. So this team that already made it to the World Series last year just got a tremendous upgrade to the roster. And they had young guys in that lineup who were looking to take steps forward in 2024 in Alec Thomas, Geraldo Perdomo, Gabriel Moreno, guys like that. Not to mention the proven stars already in that lineup in Ketel Marte and Christian Walker. And this is going without saying that Corbin Carroll had emerged in 2023 as one of the brightest young stars in baseball at this point. He was the first rookie in baseball history to hit 25 home runs and steal 50 bases in their rookie season, which was enough to secure him that Rookie of the Year win. He was an all-star and he was getting some serious MVP consideration there for a bit, and it ended up finishing top 5 in the MVP voting. And also with the additions they made to that rotation looked really strong going into the season. I mean, Zach Gallen is going to compete for Cy Young on any given year. Merrill Kelly has emerged as a reliable starter, not just a reliable starter, but a very good starter. Brandon Pfaadt had a very shaky year in his rookie season through 18 starts for them in 2023, but he had some very big moments in the postseason. So you got to feel good about Brandon Pfaadt having his first full season in 2024. And adding Jordan Montgomery and Eduardo Rodriguez to that rotation, who are coming off of each of their best seasons of their careers, you have to feel really good about this team at this point in the beginning of the season. Now, I know the Dodgers also occupy the AL West, and let's face it, they probably had the best offseason of anyone after 2023, but at this point it was like, don't sleep on the Diamondbacks right now. They made some really good moves overall, so there was a chance that the Diamondbacks could make a tighter race than a lot of people thought, and at the very least be at the top of the wildcard standings. But what we have so far in 2024 is not exactly what everyone thought or hoped would happen for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Maybe we should start with the good. Ketel Marte is having one of the most underrated seasons in baseball, in my opinion. He made his 2nd All-Star team. He's also hitting .291 with a slugging percentage well over 500 with a solid on-base percentage. His OPS is 873 and his OPS plus is 145, totaling a 4.9 wins above replacement season thus far. He's also already hit 20 home runs and his career high is 32, so he might break that. It's a tremendous year so far. Jock Peterson is also having a fantastic year, although he's only hitting righties, but he's still mashing the hell out of them. 13 home runs and 234 at-bats with an OPS just under 900. He's probably been their best offseason acquisition thus far. On the pitching side of things, Brandon Pfaadt's having a really good year. An ERA under 4, and he's been a workhorse, already 120 plus innings pitched this year. Another guy who's having a very good season is Christian Walker. He's been one of the most underrated players in baseball over the last several years, and he should have made his first All-Star team this year. It's actually a shame that Pete Alonso made the All-Star team over Christian Walker, only to go out in the home run derby like he'd never been there before. And I don't dislike Pete Alonso at all. I just don't think he deserved to be there this year over Christian Walker. Now that I've gone on a negative trend, let's just go ahead and expand onto why the Diamondbacks may not be doing the best this year. Their pitching just has not performed and is currently ranked 23rd in all of baseball in pitching WAR. They are 25th in runs allowed. They are 25th in ERA. They are 21st in FIP. So their pitching has just been letting them down this whole year. When I go over some of these players, it's going to be pretty obvious as to why. There's been a lot of starting pitching issues. Merrill Kelly had gotten off to a very good start in 2024. He had 4 starts with a 2.19 ERA, but unfortunately he went down with a shoulder injury and he hasn't pitched since April. Eduardo Rodriguez also strained his lat in March and he has not thrown a single pitch for the Diamondbacks in 2024. And forgive me if this seems ridiculous, but it seems like having a spring training is semi-important for a pitcher. Jordan Montgomery didn't sign with the team until March, so he had very limited opportunities to ramp up for the regular season. He made his first start on April 19th and it was a pretty good start. 6 innings innings of 1-run ball with 3 strikeouts, and he ended up getting the win. But fast forward till late June, and Jordan Montgomery had been one of the worst pitchers in baseball with a 6.44 ERA and a whip approaching 1.7. And after 13 starts, this has accumulated to a negative 1.3 WAR. And he's also on the IL as of right now. And this is just the starting pitching. Their bullpen has also been a wreck, ranking 26th in FIP, 27th in wins above replacement, and 21st in ERA. So overall, their pitching has been letting them down tremendously in 2024. What about the offense though? Well, as a team, the Arizona Diamondbacks are not doing horrible. They are top 10 in offensive wins above replacement, WRC plus, and OPS. But there are also some players in the lineup who are just not getting the job done. Eugenio Suarez is maybe having the worst year of his career in terms of offensive production. They also didn't bring him in this offseason for his stellar defense at third. Geraldo Perdomo has missed some time with injuries, same thing with Alek Thomas. And when they have been on the field, they haven't really performed that well. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is having a down year compared to last year with an OPS just 700 and an OPS plus just below 100, and he was an all-star last year. Although Gabriel Moreno has not been bad this year, he just hasn't taken that step forward that many were hoping he would. And their biggest issue on the offensive side overall is that Corbin Carroll, their young star, their rookie phenom from last year, has an OPS of just 638 and an OPS plus of 82 on the year. He has been one of the most underperforming players in all of baseball in 2024, going from his top 5 MVP finish in 2023 to whatever this is. He's only hit 6 home runs and he's stolen 19 bases, which is still a decent amount, but compared to the 50 plus from last year, it's not great. He hasn't even reached 1 WAR on the season. So what does all of this mean for their playoff chances? Do they still have a chance to get there? The answer is absolutely yes, thanks to a ridiculous amount of teams in the National League that are just being very mediocre. Right now, the Braves lead the wild card standings at 54 and 45, followed by the Cardinals, who are 52 and 48, and then followed again by the Mets, who have the 3rd spot at 51 and 48, only 3 games above 500. Trailing the Mets are the Pirates and the Padres, who are both only a half game back at that 3rd spot, and then the Diamondbacks, only a game back of the 3rd spot. So there's plenty of time for the Diamondbacks to potentially grab a wild card spot, but some things need to happen if they really want to make a push and stay there. They flat out just need more out of their starting rotation. But the good thing is that Merrill Kelly, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Jordan Montgomery have all thrown bullpen sessions within the last week and a half or so. Jordan Montgomery is hoping to be back sometime very soon after the All-Star break, and when he comes back, hopefully he can tap into what he did in 2023 and be effective down the stretch for Arizona. Merrill Kelly is also hoping to be back around mid to late August, and hopefully he can be as effective as he was in his first couple of starts of the season. And maybe Eduardo Rodriguez can pitch some meaningful innings down the stretch, maybe September, and maybe if they get into the playoffs, he will be available. I haven't seen exactly when the timetable is on his return, but I would assume it's coming up because he's been throwing some bullpen sessions. Don't quote me on that though. And even if they just get 2 of those guys down the stretch, they have a much better shot of making the playoffs. The bullpen needs to step up as well, and maybe at the deadline the D-backs could go out and get a reliever or 2. You know, a guy like Tanner Scott's going to be available from Miami, so maybe that could be a little bit of an answer for them. And probably the biggest thing that needs to happen, in my opinion, is that Corbin Carroll needs to turn his season around and get back to what he was doing last year. And this is not just for making the playoffs. They need to get him going if they want any significant chance of repeating what they did last year. And there have been a couple encouraging things about Corbin Carroll these last couple months that may be a sign that he's starting to get it going a little bit. His OPS in June was 725 and his OPS in July was 743. And I know that's not exactly what you want to see. You'd rather see an OPS around 800 from Corbin Carroll, but the increase from May to June was significant. It was over a 100-point increase. And overall throughout the year, his OPS has gone up every single month. So hopefully he can keep that trend going. He had also only hit 2 home runs before July, and in July he hit a total of 4 home runs. So maybe the breakout is coming, and although the underlying metrics don't look great for him, we can still hope. Will we see another ridiculous postseason run from the D-backs? It's possible for sure, but it's also possible that we see another team make a similar run with a similar record at the end of the season that the D-backs had last year. It's just a question of, if it's not the D-backs, who else could make a run like that?